Assalamu alaikum dear students. Welcome to 22nd lecture on report writing skills. Dear students, today we will be discussing a very important topic in your course outline, and that is letter writing. Dear students, remember one thing, that there are two different types of communication routes that are found in an organization. Within an organization, yes, there are three: upward, downward and horizontal. But overall, talking about two major types, there is one type that is called the internal communication and the other type that is called the external communication. As I told you in some of the earlier lectures, that in internal communication, if you people are communicating with the people of the same organization, if the departments of the same organization are communicating with each other, if the different posts of the same organization are communicating with each other, then you call it the communication within the same organization. You name it the internal communication. But if the people of your organization, the departments of your organization are communicating with some person, some other department that is not the part of your organization, that is another organization, an other person outside your organization, then you will be calling that communication as external communication. And in internal communication, there are three routes: upward, downward and horizontal communication within an organization. That is not our topic of today. Why am I discussing these two types, internal communication and external communication? Just to let you know that letters normally are used for external communication only, normally. And today we are going to discuss the basic format of letter writing. But before going into the details, you should know that the writing letters has been something which is very old, which is in fashion since many years, since many hundred years. And people normally used to begin with very soft words and end with very soft words. But since 16th century, writers have started following some prescribed formats for letter writing. Kindly have a look on the screen. Some prescribed formats for letter writing. Now the format and the styles of the letter change from one organization to another organization. They change from time to time. One year one company follows, say, one style, another year the same company might be following another style. They vary from country to country, and they vary from city to city. So different styles of letter writing are existing in fashion nowadays. But there are some basic elements. You can say that there are some basic parts of a letter that are always existing there, whatever style you are following. So you should know what are those basic parts in a letter first. Have a look on the screen. Those basic parts are, let me increase the size for you a little bit. Have a look on the screen. The heading. All the letters do have something in them that we call a heading. Second, we will be discussing it in detail. What do I mean by heading afterwards? But at the moment, what are the basic parts that are almost existing in all the styles of the letters? We are simply naming them at the moment. Okay. Woman number one, heading. Number two, have a look on the screen, the date. Number three, inside address. Number four, salutation. Number five, body. Number six, complimentary clause. Number seven, signature block. So these are the 7 basic parts of a letter that will be there, whatever style of letter you are following, that should be there. One by one, in detail, we would be discussing what each of this part is having in it, should be having in it. Have a look on the screen. We start with the first part, that is a heading. Normally in business communication, in your business letters, companies write or type the letters on letterhead, on which this heading, which comprises of few elements that I would be discussing, is already typed on the letterhead. So you don't have to type it again. A letterhead is something that is having the heading typed on it already for the letter. Now what that heading on the letterhead includes in it, kindly have a look on the screen. The address of the organization, and yes, it starts with the full name of the organization, then address of the organization, and then the telephone number. These are the three musts. Whenever you try to analyze the heading on the letterhead of any organization, you will find that that letterhead will always be having these three basic informations existing. One is the name of the organization, second would be the address of the organization, and third would be the telephone number of the organization. Just to show you a letterhead, kindly have a look on the screen. It might be having some additional parts depending on the requirement, depending on the decision, and depending on the style of the organization, but these three are an essential part of the heading of a letterhead. That is the name of the full name of the organization, then the address of the organization, and then the telephone number of the organization. Have a look on the screen kindly. Here in front of you, this is a letterhead, and this is the already typed heading on the letterhead. So it is having, have a look, the name of the organization, Worldwide Talent Agency. Have a look on the screen kindly, and then comes the address of the organization, 2314 Hollywood, then third line, Hollywood, California 90021-1654, the address of the organization, and then comes the telephone number of the organization, that is in brackets 213-695-2864. Heading part of a letter, when it is on a letterhead, would be having this information. We are discussing a situation. We are discussing the different main parts of a letter, and we have started with the heading, and in the heading we are discussing that if we are typing a letter on a letterhead, then the heading would already be typed on the letterhead, and that heading on the letterhead would be having should always be having three basic components in it, three basic parts in it. One is the name of the organization, second is the address of the organization, and third is the telephone number of the organization. Moving back, the point, the headings. Now this was the situation, dear students, when you were using the letterhead, but there might be a situation when you are not using the letterhead. So that means you would have to type the heading yourself on the letterhead. Have a look. Dear students, when you are not using the letterhead and when you are supposed to write the return address yourself, type it yourself on the piece of paper, on that page on which you are going to write the letter, then it would not, you will not include in it, in the return address, the name of the organization. You will simply writing the return address. Have a look on the screen. This is not a letterhead. So The return address over here, which is the heading, the return address over here is only the address of the organization. Have a look on the screen. 6412 Belmont Drive, New Weston, OH 45348, June 20. This is the third part. June 22, 1995 is the date. This will be the second part, main part of the letter, not included in the heading. So dear students, you omit the name of the organization and the telephone number when you are not using the letterhead. The heading in that case would only comprise of the return address without the name of the organization and the telephone number. Have a look. This is an example of a letter in front of you that is not on a letterhead, that is on a simple plain piece of paper. Have a look. This is the heading, and this heading is not having the name of the organization. This heading is simply having the return address and not having the telephone number as well. Have a look again. Let me enlarge the image for you. Here in front of you on the screen. Moving back. Yes. Now dear students, after we have discussed the first main part of the letter that we have started, we discussed already that whatever style of letter you are adopting, there are some basic parts of the letter that should always be there in any style of the letters that you are following. So the first part was the heading, and the second one is the date. After you have given the return address on the letter, dear students, then you will be adding up something that is called the date on which you have written that letter. Now writing that date is having different formats in different situations in different countries, and we will be discussing them in detail one by one. But remember one thing, dear students, have a look on the screen. Again, going back, dear students, if you are not using the letterhead, then the date will be exactly coming in the next line after the return address. Have a look on the screen here. June 22, 1995. There is no left out line between the return address and the date. The date is directly coming in the next line after the return address. But if you are using the letterhead, let us move to that situation where there is a letterhead. Kindly have a look on the screen here. Have a look on the screen, dear students. When you are having the return address in the letterhead shape typed on the letterhead, then the date you would have to leave 1 or 2 lines, and after that towards the left margin you will be writing the date. That is November, kindly have a look on the screen, November 18, 1995 here. Okay, moving back again. Okay, dear students, have a look on the screen. Now how to write this date? What are the different formats or writing this date when you are writing a letter? Should the day be coming earlier, or should the year be coming earlier, or should the date, the month be coming earlier? And should it be in numerals, or should it be a combination of both? So dear students, different countries, different standards have adopted different styles. One by one we will be discussing each one of them, and you are free to adopt any of them. First, starting with, have a look on the screen, US format. Have a look on the screen, dear students. Have a look on the screen. This is the US format, and it begins first with the name of the month over here, July. Then after that, day in numerals 14. Then after that 1995, this is the year in numerals again. So this is July 14 1995 in front of you. So US format is, it begins with the name of the month, July in the particular example in front of you, JULY. After that, as you can see on the screen, is in numerals the date, that is 14, then there is a comma, then 1995. But somewhere the US standard is having some changes as well. Somewhere you will find the US format a slightly bit changed, where they will be starting with the date before the month. Date before the month. Kindly have a look on the screen. Here. 14 July 1995. 14 July 1995. Here it is the date that is coming first in numerals, that is 14. Then after it is the month July, JULY, and after it, dear students, you will find the year 1995. Okay, dear students, when we move to the European countries, then they have converted the entire format of putting the date in numerals, beginning with the date in numerals, then the month in numerals, and then the year in numerals. Kindly have a look on screen. They will be writing it as 14.7.1995. 14 is the date, 7 again date is in numerals, then 7 is the month in numerals, that is July, and then 1995 is the year. And dear students, when we move to the international recommended format, kindly have a look on the screen. It recommends you to start with the year, then move on to the month, and then move on to the date. Two styles are possible in the international format. Kindly have a look on the screen, beginning with the year in numerals 1995, then July, JULY, not in numerals, and after that is the date 14. And dear students, the international format also allows you to write the entire date in numerals, but beginning with the year, moving on to the month, and then the date. That is, have a look on the screen, 1995, 7, 14. All in numerals, but beginning with the year, then moving on to the month, and then moving on to the date. Okay, dear students, we discussed two main parts of the letter. One, the heading, and second, the date. First, we discussed which location you will be writing the date in the case you are using the letterhead, and which location you will be writing the date if you are not using the letterhead and you are writing it on a simple piece of paper, typing it on a piece of paper, and then what are the different styles of writing those dates. Let us move to the scanned letter in the letterhead, first on the plain paper, and let us see what style have they adopted. Have a look on the screen, dear students. Here, June 22, 1995. Have a look on the screen. So this is the US format, June 22, 1995. Moving to the letterhead side, let us see what style have they followed. Okay, this is November 18, 1995, US format being followed. And you are free to adopt any format you want to follow, the British format, the US format, or the internationally recommended format that we have discussed in detail. Okay, dear students, now let us move to the next part. the inside address. Kindly have a look on the screen. Dear students, after you have added up something that we call the heading and then the date, the next very fundamental part of all the letters, whatever style you are following, whatever style you are adopting, is the inside address. This is the address of the person to whom you are writing that letter. So what are the various things that should be included in an inside address? Kindly have a look on the screen. First of all, dear students, have a look on the screen. You should be leaving 1 to 2 lines. 1 to 2 lines after the return address, after the date of the return address. Have a look on the screen. June 22, 1995. There you will be finding a space on the screen of 2 lines, and after that would come the inside address, which is the address of the person to whom you are writing the letter. So what is it having in it? What this thing should be, this part of the letter should be having in it? Let us analyze and discuss. Have a look on the screen, dear students. Here, this comes with the name of the person to whom you are writing the letter, Mr. Richard Gracia, over here. Now you will be noting one thing, that the person has not directly written Richard Gracia. There is a title that is added up with the name, that is MR, capital M small r, that is Mr. Richard Gracia. This is the courtesy title. Now when you are writing the inside addresses, you are supposed to add up the names but with the courtesy titles. Do not write the names plainly. So Mr, you can write Mr, you can write MS, Miss, you can write Professor, you can write Doctor. Let us see what other courtesy titles are existing. Have a look on the screen. Here, have a look on the screen. You can use the courtesy title like capital D small r, Doctor, then Mr or Miss, and then Mrs. Now these courtesy, and then Professor, PROF. Now these courtesy titles should be added with the names when you are giving the name in the inside address. Kindly have a look on the screen. Have a look on the screen again, the scanned copy of the letter. Here in front of you on the screen, Mr. Richard Gracia. Then will come the organizational title, the post that the person is holding in that particular organization. Have a look on the screen. This is Director of Franchises. Then the name of the organization, name of the department, that is over here in this particular example, snack shops. And after that, dear students, is the address 2344 Western Avenue, Settle, WA 98123. Have a look on the screen, dear students, again. We are discussing the next fundamental portion of a letter, and as we discussed earlier, that whatever style of the letter you are adopting, these are some fundamental parts of a letter that would be included in all the styles. So the third portion was being discussed, and that is the inside address, and we said that you will be starting it with the name of the person whom you are writing, to whom you are writing the letter, then the title of that person is holding in that organization, and then the department to which that title belongs, and after that the address of the organization. Have a look again on the screen. Here, Mr. Richard Gracia, Director of Franchises, Snack Shops, 2344 Western Avenue, Settle, WA 98123. Now remember one thing, dear students, if the title that the person is holding in that particular department of an organization is short, then you can add up that title in the same line as that of the name. Over here, Mr. Richard Gracia, if it was only manager, then you could have written over here comma manager, then snack shops 2344 Western Avenue, Settle WA 98123. Depending, if the title is short, you can add that title in the same line of the name in the inside address. Moving on, dear students. Now dear students, there are some situations, for example, if you are not having the name of the person available to whom you are writing that letter. For example, if Mr. Richard Gracia's name was not available, then what to do in that situation? You are supposed to write the inside address, but when the name is not available, then what to do? In that case, directly you can write the inside address without the name, directly starting with the department, or directly starting with the name of the organization, name of the department or name of the organization, where the name of the individual holding a particular post over there is not available. Or you can directly address it to the post. For example, if the name of Mr. Gracia was not available, you could have started directly with, have a look on the screen, Director Franchises, Snack Shops 2344 Western Avenue, Settle WA 98123. And even if the post was not available, you could have directly addressed it to the department, and that is Snack Shops 2344 Western Avenue, Settle WA 98123. Let us see, are we having any other examples in such situations? Okay. These are the two more examples in front of you on the screen, but dear students, here the name is available, Miss Linda, College Vice President. Now have a look on the screen, dear students. I told you that if the title of the person is holding in any organization is a shorter one, then you can add up the title in the inside address in the same line of the name. Over here in front of you on the screen, you can see this example, Miss Linda Coolidge, comma Vice President. Now the title is not in the next line, the title is lying on the same line of the name in the inside address. This is an example of the inside address. Then Corporate Planning Department, Midwest Airlines, Building Suite 21-A, 7279 Bristol Avenue, OH 43617. This was an example of the inside address in US correspondence. Let us move to the other example and let us see. Okay, Dr. H.C. Armstrong, then Research and Development, Commonwealth Mining, and then the Shelton Building, Suite 3015, 85 2nd Street, SW, Calgary, Alberta, T2P 2P5, in front of you on the screen. Okay. Then dear students, in front of you on the screen there is another example. Now, dear students, remember one thing, whenever you are going for international correspondence, and for an international correspondence you are writing a letter to that company, try to follow the same format for the inside address as that company itself follows on its letterhead. That would be very much appreciated. Dear students, let us now move to the next part of the letter. We have discussed up till now 3 parts. Have a look on the screen once again. Okay, dear students, Whenever you are, before we move on to the next part of the letter, let me discuss one more thing with you, that whenever you are writing the titles in the inside address, you are supposed to be extremely cautious, especially in the international correspondences. The reason being that different posts are having different status in different countries. For example, kindly have a look on the screen that there is here the managing director in England is a managing director in England, but if you are talking about some managing director in US, now that post in US is equivalent to, kindly have a look on the screen, to the president or the chief executive officer. So a post that might not be something very superior, something very highly ranked in one country, might be much highly ranked in another country. So you are supposed to be extremely cautious while you are choosing the title for the posts in different countries. As I gave you the example that the post of have a look on the screen, managing director in England might be a simple managing director's post, but in US that post is equivalent to the president or the chief executive officer post. Then another example, have a look on the screen. Yes, and the British deputy in US is equivalent to the vice president. Over there in Britain it was simply a deputy, but in US equivalent to the vice president. So was more highly ranked in US. It was supposed to be extremely cautious while you are creating the titles for these different posts in different countries, depending, and you should know what kind of ranking that particular title or the post is having in that particular country for which you are devising the letter, the business letter. Then let us move to some other example. And in France, dear students, there is a very strange fashion that people, they normally do not give different responsibilities to different posts. Rather, they give them directly to the individuals. They do not like to mention the titles in the organizational hierarchy while you are giving different tasks to different individuals. So the titles, titles are normally not required in France. Then in China, you might be having some meaning existing for the post of the project manager, but you might not find any such post as the sales manager. Might not be totally existing, might not be existing at all over there in China. Then in Germany, this is another extreme. In Germany, you will find that people do not like that the names of the individual names should be mentioned over there along with the titles. They just want it with the title because they think that the individuals, they belong to the organization, so their individual identity over there does not matter. So what I am trying to discuss at the moment is that while you are trying to write the inside address for a letter, and of course that in the inside address you will be, after the name, you will be going for the titles. So you are supposed to keep in mind what are the different styles, what are the different fashions that a particular, what are the different formats that are liked, that are appreciated, that are followed in different countries, in different organizations, and you are supposed to respect them, you should know them, and you should write your inside address according to their norms that they are following in their country or in their organization. Now let us, dear students, move to the next fundamental part of the letter, and that is the salutation. But before moving on to that, let me show you on the scanned copy of the letter which part is the one that I am calling the salutation. Have a look on the screen. Here, dear Mr. Gracia, this is the salutation portion, dear students. Have a look on the screen. Here, this was the first two lines, these were the headings, of the letter. Then the next line was June 22, 1995, that is the date, the second fundamental part of a letter. Then after 2 lines there was the inside address, that is the address of the person to whom you are writing the letter, and in which we discussed different details. After that you will be leaving 1 line or so, and then you will be starting with the salutation. Here, dear Mr. Gracia, this is an example of the salutation. Now let us move to the different details of this portion of the letter, moving back to the main page again. Now remember one thing, dear students. The way you will be addressing the person whom you are writing the letter, the way you will be designing your salutation, it greatly depends on your relationship with that person to whom you are writing the letter. If you are having a much frank relationship with each other, a greater mutual understanding and frankness level, then in that case you can straight away use the word dear directly with the name Mary, dear Mary. But if these are simply the formal ties with each other, you do not know each other beforehand, or the terms that you are having with each other are not that much friendly, in that situation it is not recommended to use the word dear straight away with the name. Do go for the complimentary title in between the name of the person and the word dear. Dear Miss Mary, dear Mr. Richard, dear Professor ABC, dear Dr. Danson. So the complimentary titles, the courtesy titles, should be present in those situations when the ties that you are having with each other are not that much relaxed, are not that much frank, and when you do not know each other like friends or like very intimate, close relations. Have a look on the screen. Here. So let us move to the letter. Dear Mr. Gracia. Now if you write it directly dear Gracia, that will show that you are having intimate relationship with each other, and the person whom you are writing the letter will not mind it that way. But if the relationship is not that much intimate, you do not know each other to that frank level, then it is not recommended to omit this courtesy title Mr. Then do write it this way, dear Mr. Gracia. Have a look on the screen. Example in front of you in order to make you understand the situation. Okay, dear students, there is something that we call salute opening. In US you will find another fashion of what is a salute opening, by the way. This is basically a salutation style in which the word dear is omitted, but it is replaced by 2 or 3 words of the first paragraph of the main body of the letter. Kindly have a look on the screen and you will understand what I mean by the word salute opening. Here, thank you Mr. Brown for your prompt payment of your bill. Now the body of the letter is not starting with dear Mr. Brown, it is starting with a salute opening, and this salute opening is the part of the first sentence of the main body as well. Have a look. Thank you Mr. Brown for your prompt payment of your bills. But do note one thing, that there is a space of 2 lines between the salute opening, "Thank you, Mr. Brown," and the beginning of the first paragraph. But remember one thing, even with this space of 2 lines, this salute opening is the part of the first sentence of the first paragraph of the body of the letter. You can opt this style as well of salute openings, replacing the style "Dear Mr. Brown," and start straight away starting with the salute openings, omitting "Dear." "Thank you, Mr. Brown, for your prompt payment," or in the other situations, "Congratulations, Mr. Lake, have a look on the screen. Your promotion is well deserved." Here, have a look again. These are the 2 examples of salute openings. "Thank you, Mr. Brown, for your prompt payment of your bills. Congratulations, Mr. Lake, your promotion is well deserved." Okay. Now, dear students, there are different situations in which, for example, the name of the person to whom you are writing the letter is not available. Now, what to do in that particular situation? Because you are going for the salutations now, "Dear Mr. ABC," or the salute openings, again with the name, but the name is not available, then how to address the person whom you are writing the letter? There are many options available. Kindly have a look on the screen. You can have a look on the screen. This one. You can start with "Ladies and gentlemen," or you can start with "Dear customers," or you can start with "Dear colleagues," or you can simply go for "To whom it may concern," "Dear ma'am," "Dear sir." The name is not available, and these are the other options that can replace if the name is not available. Remember one thing, dear students, the 2 options, "Dear sir" or "ma'am," or "To whom it may concern," these are a bit formal styles in which you are trying to establish a very polite, professional and reasonable balance. And other terms like "Dear customers," "Ladies and gentlemen," and "Dear colleagues," these are a bit softer and a bit informal. Rather, the word informal is not good, less formal. So it depends on the situation. You want to go for that polite barrier, then use the terms "Dear ma'am" or "Dear sir," or "To whom it may concern." But if you want to go for a bit relaxed salutation style, then you can go for "Ladies and gentlemen," "Dear customers," "Dear colleagues." That would be much softer one. So we discussed a situation, dear students, where the name of the person whom you are writing the letter is not available. Then how to go for the salutation part of that letter, where the name of the person to whom you are writing the letter is not available. Okay, dear students, let us move to the next situation. Okay. Okay, dear students, next fundamental part of the letter is the body. We have discussed the headings, the date, the inside address, the salutation, and now we are moving to the next part, that is the main body. Body, this is the main portion of the letter in which you will be writing not in the double spaced fashion. It will be single spaced. Kindly have a look on the screen. Here the scanned copy of the letter in front of you. Here, which part of the letter is that we're calling a body? This one. Yes, this is the body of the letter. After the salutation you will be leaving one line, but afterwards within the lines of the different paragraphs of the body you will not be finding double spaced fashion. They will be single spaced. Yes, between the 2 paragraphs it's optional. You can leave one line after the ending of the first paragraph and before the beginning of the next paragraph, but within the paragraph these lines are not double spaced. You can go for paragraphs in the body, you can go for bullet styles in the body, you can go for points, you can go for indented style. But whatever style you are adopting in the letter, you should be following it throughout the letter. It should be a synchronized style. It should be in harmony in one single letter. Yes, you can have bullets, you can have subheadings as well, you can have main headings as well, but whatever style you are beginning with, do follow it throughout the letter. Do not make it a hodgepodge of different oppositely moving styles. If you're following one style, follow it throughout, but if you are following two or more styles, they should be interlinked with each other. There must be no disparity in the style of the body of the letter. Here in front of you on the screen, this is the body. Have a look. Moving it up and down for you again. Then, dear students, now we move on to the next part of the letter. Here. Yes. The complementary clause. After you are done with the body of the letter, the next very fundamental part of any style of the letter is a complementary clause, and normally it's a single word like regards, sincerely and cordially. Have a look on the screen. Let us move to the scanned copy of the letter to show you which one is the complementary closed part, complementary clause part. Here in front of you on the screen, leaving one or two lines after the last sentence of the body, you will be writing this complementary clause, that is cordially or sincerely or like words. This is the complementary clause. Now, dear students, after this you will be leaving 3 blank lines. Now we move to the next fundamental portion of the letter, that is the signature block. The signature block. And when you are done with the complementary clause, the next part would be the signature block, in which after the complementary clause you will be leaving 3 lines for the signature by the person who is writing the letter. And then after that, have a look on the screen. This is the signature. After cordially, kindly have a look on the screen. You can see the signature of the person, Peter Simon, and the space is 3 lines. Have a look on the screen. Okay, dear students, after you have left the 3 lines for the signatures, then the next would be the name of the person who is writing the letter, and after that should be the title that person is holding in a particular department of the organization. Now again, if the title is short, then the title may appear on the same line of the name, and if it is a longer one, then it will be in the next line. Have a look on the screen. Here, cordially, Raymond Dunnigan, Director of Personnel. And here, this one, have a look on the screen, this is the place for the signature. Now remember, dear students, whenever you are using the letterhead itself shows that shows the identity of the organization, that the person is writing a letter that is authorized by the company. But suppose if you are writing a business letter, but you are not somehow writing it on the letterhead, then you are supposed to emphasize it in the signature block one way or the other, that you are authorized by the company to write this letter, and there is a proper way to do that, and that is that after the complementary clause. Have a look on the screen again. After the complementary clause, when you are moving to the signature block, in case when you are not using the letterhead, then you will be after the complementary clause leaving 4 lines instead of 3. 4 lines instead of 3, and here you will be in bold letters, have a look on the screen, writing the name of the company. Writing the name of the company, which is Wentworth Industries. And after sincerely, the word sincerely, have a look, the complementary clause, you will be leaving double space, and after that double space you will be writing the name of the company in bold letters, and after that you will be leaving again the 3 lines for the signature. Then after that you will be writing the name of the sender's name and the title of the person is holding in a particular organization. This is the situation, dear students, when you are not using the letterhead, although you are writing the letter that is authorized by the company. Then you are supposed to emphasize it by using this methodology, that after the complementary clause, for example the word sincerely, you will be leaving the double spaces, and then you will be writing the name of the company in bold letters, then the signatures, and then the title, and the name of the person who is writing the letter, and then the title that the particular person is holding in that organization. Have a look on the screen here. Sincerely, again Wentworth, this is double space if you can see on the screen, Wentworth Industries, then this is space for the signature, then Mrs. Helen B. Taylor, President. Moving to the scanned copy of the letter, have a look on the screen. Let us revise once again. Dear students, we started with the discussion that what are the various fundamental parts of a letter, and then we said that there are 7 fundamental parts of the letter, and we began with number 1, the heading. After the heading, the date. Then after the date, the inside address. After the inside address, the salutation. After salutation, the body. After body, I am forgetting this word again, and that is the complementary clause. It skips out of my mind often, the complementary clause. And after the complementary clause, the signature block. I repeat again, there are 7 portions, dear students. Number 1, have a look on the screen, the heading. After the heading, the date, have a look on the screen. Then the inside address, then the salutation, then, dear students, the body of the letter. After that, the complementary clause, and then the address block. The signature block, not the address block, the signature block. 7 parts. Number 1, the heading, have a look on the screen. Number 2, the date. Number 3, the inside address. Number 4, the salutation, dear Miss Gracia, Mr. Gracia, on the screen in front of you. Then number 5, the body. Number 6, the complementary clause, and number 7, the signature block. The 7 fundamental parts of a letter that we discussed today in detail. Now, dear students, keep in mind that we have discussed the 7 fundamental parts of a letter, and we have not discussed the different styles of the letter available, but what are the different styles generated from, Remember one thing, these are the 7 fundamental parts, and on the different, by the different rearrangements of these 7 fundamental parts of the letter, there can be different styles that are generated. These styles remain there, but depending on the way, these fundamental parts remain there in all the styles of the letter, but depending on the arrangement, depending on the positioning of these fundamental parts in any letter, different styles are generated. And we will be discussing 3 different styles of the letter normally in fashion. One is the block format style, then the other one is the modified block format, and the third style is the simplified format of a letter. And these would simply depend on the rearrangements of these 7 fundamental parts of the letter that we have discussed today. So dear students, I'm sure that you have benefited much from today's letter. Wish you best of luck in all the good things of your life. Thank you so very much. See you in the next lecture, inshallah. Till then, Allah Hafiz.